My name is Eugene Henderson, but everyone in my family calls me Pops. I'm 73 years old, and on what should have been one of the happiest days of my life, the day I officially gifted our lake house, the place I built with my own hands for my family, to my grandchildren, everything changed. My own wife, Patricia, stood up, raised a glass for a toast, said just a few words, and in seconds, I went from family patriarch to a fragile, confused old man in the eyes of everyone I love. She announced my growing confusion and the difficult but loving decision to have my doctor run some cognitive tests for my own safety. The cheers turned to pitying applause. I'm going to tell you what they did to me, how the people I raised, loved, and sacrificed everything for laid a trap with smiles on their faces. But before I begin, please let me know in the comments, where are you watching this from? Because this story proves that the most dangerous place in the world can be your own living room. To everyone here supporting this community, thank you. Your messages keep me going. You've shown me I'm not alone. And if this is your first time here, do me a favor, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. You're not just joining a channel, you're joining a family that believes no one should suffer in silence, especially not from the people they trust the most. Now, let me tell you how I turned their Canasta Club into their confession. It started with a notebook I wasn't supposed to see. Tuesday afternoon, October 17th, Patricia was at the grocery store. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my own breathing. Her sister Diane had left something on our kitchen counter after yesterday's Canasta group, that weekly card game that had been happening every Thursday evening for the past 4 months. I was just moving it to the side table. That's all. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't suspicious yet. But when I picked it up, it fell open, and there, in Diane's neat handwriting, was my name at the top of the page. Eugene. Progressive documentation. Below it, a list. Forgetful. Check. Agitated. Check. Doesn't recognize dates. Work on this. Next session. Push harder on the wandering narrative. I stood there in my kitchen, holding that notebook, and the floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. I'm 73 years old. I worked 40 years as a civil engineer. I designed bridges that are still standing, roads that thousands of people drive on every single day. I raised 2 sons, Steve and Elvis, who turned into good men. I've never wandered anywhere I didn't mean to go. My hands started shaking. The Canasta group. Patricia had started it back in June. Her sisters, Diane and Mira, would come over with Patricia's friends Tessa and Elena. They'd set up in our dining room with cards and wine and cheese, and I'd retreat to my den to watch the Diamondbacks or old westerns. I thought it was nice. I thought my wife was building community, spending time with her friends, doing something for herself after all these years of marriage. I thought she was playing cards. I turned the page. There was a grid. Dates going back 3 months. Each Thursday had bullet points next to it. Things I supposedly did or said. Things I don't remember doing. Things I know I never did. September 12th. Asked what year it was twice. Seemed genuinely confused. I never asked that. I know what year it is. It's 2024. October. September 19th. Put his wallet in the freezer. Patricia found it next to the ice cream. I don't remember that either, but the detail is so specific. Why would Diane make that up? September 26th. Drove to the old house on Maple Street. Couldn't understand why his key didn't work. We sold that house in 2009. My chest tightened. That one I do remember. Sort of. I was thinking about something else, not paying attention. I took the wrong turn. It was just a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. October 3rd. Called grandson Nathan Steve 6 times at his birthday party. Became irritated when corrected. Nathan, my grandson, 12 years old. And yes, okay, I might have mixed up his name with his father's name. They look alike. It happens. I have 2 sons and 3 grandchildren. Sometimes the names get tangled. That's normal. That's not confusion. That's not dementia. But they're building a case. That's what this is. Documentation. Evidence. A record of decline that they're creating whether it's real or not. I sat down in my leather recliner, the one Patricia says is an eyesore but I've had since 1987, and I kept reading. Because I had to know. I had to understand what my wife and her so-called Canasta group were really doing every Thursday night in my dining room. There were pages of notes, observations, interpretations of my behavior, things taken out of context and twisted into symptoms. And, at the very back of the notebook, a list of names and phone numbers: Dr. Elias Brennan, Geriatric Psychiatrist, Desert Haven Memory Care, Admin Office Attorney, Guardianship Consultation, Desert Haven. I know that place. It's where Eleanor Patterson's husband died 2 years ago. I visited him once, at Eleanor's request. He was sitting in a wheelchair in a hallway, drooling, staring at nothing. He didn't recognize his own wife. He didn't recognize his own name. They want to put me there. My wife, the woman I've been married to for 43 years, the woman who said "I do" in a little chapel in Tucson when we were both young and stupid and in love, is documenting my supposed decline so she can have me locked away in a memory care facility. I heard the garage door open. Patricia was home. I closed the notebook carefully, exactly as I'd found it. Put it back on the counter, walked to my den, sat down, turned on the TV. And when Patricia came in carrying grocery bags, humming something light and cheerful, asking me how my day was with that same warm voice I've heard for 4 decades, I smiled at her and said, "Just fine, honey, just fine." She had no idea I knew, and I wasn't going to tell her. Not yet, because if they were building a case against me, then I needed to build one of my own. I started watching Patricia the way you'd watch a stranger. Over the next few days, I saw things I'd been blind to before. The performance, the careful staging of every interaction. Wednesday morning, she made me breakfast, scrambled eggs, toast, coffee, and as she set the plate in front of me, she asked, "What did you have for breakfast yesterday, hun?" Just like that. Casual, sweet. But she watched my face when she said it, watched too carefully. "Oatmeal," I said. "With blueberries?" She nodded, turned back to the sink. But I saw her hand move toward her purse on the counter, saw her pull out a small notepad, saw her write something down. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab that notepad and throw it across the room. But I didn't. Because that's what they're waiting for, isn't it? The outburst, the anger, the agitation they've already checked off on their list. So I ate my eggs and read the paper and said nothing. Thursday evening, Patricia started getting ready for Canasta Group. She put on lipstick, poured wine into glasses, set out cheese and crackers on the good serving tray. "You don't mind, do you?" she asked, like she asked every week. "We'll try to keep it down." "Of course not," I said. "You have fun." But this time, I had my phone in my shirt pocket, recording app already running. At 7 o'clock, they arrived. Diane, Mira, Tessa, Elena. I heard them greeting Patricia in the foyer, heard the sounds of hugs and hellos and "How was your week?" I stayed in my den with the door cracked open just an inch. Just enough. They settled into the dining room. I heard chairs scraping, wine pouring, the rustle of papers. Not cards, papers. "So," Diane's voice, "how was this week? Any new incidents?" Incidents. They're calling my life incidents. Tuesday was rough. Patricia's voice, tired, sad. He accused me of moving his reading glasses, got really frustrated, said I was hiding things from him. They were on his head the whole time. Were they? I don't remember that, but the way she tells it, I sound like a confused old man yelling at his wife over nothing. "That's classic," Tessa said. "My mother did the same thing before her diagnosis. The paranoia starts early." Paranoia. I'm not paranoid. I'm listening to my wife and her friends discuss my mental competence like I'm not a person, like I'm a problem to be solved. "Did you ask him about Nathan's birthday?" Mira's voice. "I did. He said it was in 2 weeks. It's actually in 10 days. Close, but not accurate. 10 days, 2 weeks. What's the difference? It's the same general time frame. But in Diane's notebook, this will become, doesn't know grandson's birthday. Memory declining. We need to move faster, Elena said. The consultation with Dr. Brennan is scheduled for November 2nd, but we need more documentation before then, more concrete examples. I'm working on it, Patricia said, and I heard something crack in her voice. It's hard. He's my husband. When he looks at me sometimes, I can see he knows something's wrong, but he won't admit it, and I'm lying to him every day. I'm asking these test questions, and he thinks we're just having normal conversations, and I feel like I'm betraying him. You're protecting him, Diane said firmly. There's a difference. Is there? Silence in the dining room. Then Mira. Patricia, we've been over this. If Eugene won't get help voluntarily, we have to make sure he gets it anyway, before he hurts himself, before he gets in the car and forgets where he's going and ends up in an accident, before he wanders off. He hasn't wandered, Patricia interrupted. Not yet, but the patterns are there. The confusion, the memory gaps, the disorientation. It's textbook early-stage dementia. I gripped the armrest of my recliner so hard my knuckles went white. They kept talking, planning, discussing my future like I wasn't a part of it, like I had no say. They talked about legal power of attorney, about the best way to approach our sons, about the timing of the doctor's appointment and how to present it to me as just a routine checkup for men my age. They talked about me like I was already gone. At 9:30, they wrapped up. I heard the sounds of papers being tucked away, purses being gathered, goodbyes at the door. When Patricia came into the den, I was watching TV, an old John Wayne Western. She stood in the doorway for a moment, just looking at me. Good game? I asked, not looking away from the screen. Yeah, I won this time. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You coming to bed soon? In a bit. She nodded and disappeared down the hallway. I sat there in the dark, the TV's blue light flickering across my face, and I listened to the recording I'd just made. Listened to my wife's voice admitting she was lying to me, admitting she felt like she was betraying me. Because she was. They all were. And tomorrow, I was going to start figuring out exactly how deep this conspiracy went. Friday morning, I became a detective in my own home. Patricia left for her book club at 10. I waited until I heard her car pull out of the driveway, counted to 60, then got to work. First stop, her laptop. She keeps it on the kitchen desk, plugged in, always open to her email. Patricia's not tech-savvy. She still uses the same password she's used since 2003. Our wedding anniversary, backwards. Weto 2381. October the 23rd, 1981. The day we got married. The irony isn't lost on me. I opened her email and searched for Elias Brennan. 15 results. I started reading. The first email was from August 14th, 2 months ago. Dr. Brennan, I'm reaching out on the recommendation of my sister Diane. I'm concerned about my husband's memory and cognitive function. Over the past year, I've noticed increasing forgetfulness, confusion about dates and times, and some troubling incidents that seem beyond normal aging. I'm not sure what to do or how to approach this. Can we schedule a consultation? My hands were shaking so badly I had to set the laptop down. A year. She's been worried about this for a year and never said a word to me. Dr. Brennan's response came the same day. Patricia, thank you for reaching out. What you're describing could be consistent with early cognitive decline, though of course I'd need to evaluate Eugene directly to make any determination. Before we schedule an appointment, it would be helpful if you could document specific incidents, dates, times, what happened, how he responded. This will give us a clearer picture of the progression. Many spouses find their partners resistant to evaluation, so gathering evidence beforehand can be crucial. Evidence. That word again. I scrolled through the emails. Patricia had been sending Dr. Brennan updates every 2 weeks, detailed reports of my supposed failures. August 28th. Eugene couldn't remember our grandson Nathan's school name, even though we just visited for his birthday in July. He got frustrated when I reminded him and accused me of testing him. Nathan goes to Desert Ridge Middle School. I know that. But in the moment, did I blank? Did I really forget? September 11th. Found his car keys in the bathroom medicine cabinet. He had no memory of putting them there. Seemed genuinely confused and blamed me for moving them. I don't remember that at all. But medicine cabinets and keys. Why would I put keys there? Unless I was distracted, not thinking, just set them down while I was looking for something else. September 25th. Drove to our old house on Maple Street. When his key didn't work, he came home upset, saying someone had changed our locks. Took me 20 minutes to help him understand we sold that house 15 years ago. He seemed embarrassed afterward, but tried to laugh it off. That one I remember. Sort of. I was thinking about a project I'd worked on back then, some bridge design issue, and my mind was elsewhere. I took the wrong turn. It was just a mistake, wasn't it? The most recent email was from October 15th, 3 days ago. Dr. Brennan, I think we're ready to move forward. I've been documenting for 2 months now, and the incidents are increasing in frequency. My sisters and friends have witnessed several episodes as well. Eugene is becoming more defensive when questioned, which I understand can be part of the disease process. How do we proceed with an evaluation without triggering his resistance? Dr. Brennan's response was clinical and cold. Patricia, based on what you've shared, I believe a formal evaluation is warranted. However, you're correct that many patients in early-stage decline resist assessment. I recommend presenting this as a routine physical checkup or wellness screening rather than a cognitive test. Once Eugene is in my office, I can perform the evaluation as part of a broader health discussion. I've scheduled an opening for November 2nd at 2 p.m. Confirm if this works for your schedule. November 2nd. That's 2 weeks away. They have an appointment. They're going to ambush me. I kept digging, found a separate email chain between Patricia and her sisters, found messages going back even further, to February, 8 months ago. Mira had sent an article, 10 Early Warning Signs of Dementia. Diane had responded, Is this about Eugene? Patricia's reply, I don't know, maybe I'm overreacting. But some of these signs, I'm seeing them. Small things. I'm scared. I sat back in the kitchen chair and tried to breathe. 8 months. She's been watching me, analyzing me, cataloging my mistakes for 8 months. But here's the thing that made my stomach turn. As I read through her emails, through her careful documentation, through her worried messages to her sisters, I started to see something else. Fear. Real, bone-deep fear. I'm losing him, and he doesn't even know it. Last night he told me a story about when the boys were little. He's told me that exact story 3 times this month, word for word. He doesn't remember telling me. I found him standing in the garage yesterday just staring at his toolbox. He said he came out to get something but couldn't remember what. He looked so lost. I closed the laptop before I could read any more. I walked to my den and stood in the doorway, looking at my space. My recliner, my TV, my bookshelf with 40 years of engineering journals and Western paperbacks, my walls covered with photos, my son's college graduations, family vacations, my grandkids at various ages, and on the side table, my reading glasses. I picked them up, tried to remember when I'd taken them off, tried to remember what I'd been reading last. The memory wouldn't come. I walked to the garage, stood in front of my toolbox, the same red Craftsman chest I've had since 1989. I could name every tool in every drawer without looking. Couldn't I? My phone rang, Steve's number. Dad, hey, just checking in. How are you doing? I almost told him everything. Almost said, Your mother is plotting against me. She's trying to have me declared incompetent. She's building a case for dementia. Instead, I said, I'm fine, son. Just fine. Mom mentioned you've been a little forgetful lately. She's worried. And there it was. She'd already gotten to our sons, already planted the seeds. Your mother worries too much? I'm 73, not dead. I know, but, Dad, when we visited for Labor Day, you asked me 3 times what Nathan's favorite video game was, in the same afternoon. I was making conversation. Silence on the other end. Then, maybe. But Mom's not making this up, Dad. We're all seeing things. Small things, but I have to go, Steve. I hung up before he could finish. I spent the rest of the afternoon searching the house, found the guardianship papers Patricia had hidden in her closet, tucked inside a shoebox behind her winter boots, found brochures for Desert Haven memory care, found financial statements, our accounts, my pension, everything highlighted and annotated in her handwriting. Found a draft legal document, petition for guardianship and conservatorship. They were going to take everything, my autonomy, my money, my dignity, my life. When Patricia came home at 4, I was in my den watching TV. She poked her head in. How was your day? I looked at her. This woman I'd loved for 43 years. This stranger who was systematically building a cage around me. Fine, I said. Yours? Good. Book club was nice. She smiled. I'm going to start dinner. Pot roast okay? Perfect. She left. I heard her in the kitchen, humming. The same woman who'd held my hand through a heart attack 8 years ago. Who'd cried with me when we lost our first pregnancy. Who'd stood beside me at our sons' weddings. The same woman who was trying to erase me. Quick break. Smash that subscribe button so I know you're supporting the channel. Every click pushes us closer to 1K. Now, where were we? Oh yes, the part that changes everything. I waited until after the next Canasta group. Thursday night, October 24th. They met for 3 hours. I recorded every word through my cracked den door, my phone hidden in my shirt pocket. This time, they talked about the lake house. The property transfer is scheduled for Saturday, Diane said. That's when we make the move. Are you sure this is the right time? Patricia asked. Shouldn't we wait until after the evaluation? We need him in a good mood, Mira said. Surrounded by family, feeling generous. That's when we present the cognitive concerns. Public setting, everyone there to witness. He'll be less likely to get defensive. It feels manipulative, Patricia said quietly. It is manipulative, Elena responded, but it's necessary. Once he signs over the lake house, once everyone sees his confusion in real time, we have the witnesses we need. You give your speech, express your concerns, and suddenly the whole family is on board with the evaluation. My lake house, the property I built with my own hands 30 years ago, the place where my sons learned to fish, where my grandkids learned to swim, where our family gathered every summer for barbecues and bonfires and memories. They were going to use it as a stage for my humiliation. What exactly do I say? Patricia asked. I heard the papers rustling. Tessa's voice. We wrote it out for you. Short and sweet. You thank Eugene for his generosity. Acknowledge the gift to the grandchildren. Then express your concern for his growing confusion and the difficult but loving decision to have his doctor run some cognitive tests for his safety. Make it sound like you're protecting him, not attacking him. And everyone will believe I'm doing the right thing, Patricia said, because I'm his devoted wife who only wants what's best for him. You are doing the right thing, Diane insisted. Am I? Or am I just... I don't know anymore. Sometimes I look at him and he seems fine, completely normal. And I think maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe I'm seeing problems that aren't there. Patricia! Mira's voice firm. You're not crazy. We've all witnessed it. The forgetting, the confusion, the disorientation. This is real. After they left, I walked into the living room where Patricia was cleaning up wine glasses. I put Diane's notebook on the coffee table between us. Tell me about the speech you're planning for Saturday. She froze. Her face went white, then red. For a moment, I thought she might deny everything. but something in my expression must have told her it was too late for lies. Eugene, I found the emails, all of them, to Dr. Brennan, to your sisters. I heard everything you said tonight. I know about the ambush at the lake house. My voice was steady, dead steady. I know about the secret appointment on November 2nd. I know you've been documenting fake symptoms for 8 months. They're not fake. Her voice cracked. Eugene, please. I took cognitive tests last month with Dr. Reynolds. He said I was fine. Dr. Reynolds is a general practitioner. He's not a specialist. And Dr. Brennan is a specialist you chose specifically because he'll give you the diagnosis you want. That's not. She stopped, breathed. You're right, some of it is. Maybe I've been looking for problems. Maybe I've been interpreting normal aging as something worse. But Eugene, some of it is real. You don't see it because you're inside it, but we're watching you change, little by little. Give me an example. One real example that isn't just a normal mistake anyone could make. She sat down on the couch, wine glass forgotten in her hand. Last month you drove to Maple Street, to our old house, the one we sold in 2009. You tried your key in the lock and couldn't understand why it didn't work. I was distracted. I took the wrong turn. For 15 years. You forgot 15 years of your life, Eugene. That's not a wrong turn. The room tilted. I gripped the back of the armchair. You put your wallet in the freezer, she continued, her voice breaking. You called Nathan Steve 6 times at his birthday party. You asked me if we were going to my mother's house for Christmas, and she's been dead for 7 years. You told me the same story about the boys' camping trip 3 times in 2 weeks. You looked me in the eye each time like you'd never told me before. People repeat stories. You asked me what year we got married. On our anniversary. You looked at me and said, "How many years has it been now?" Like you didn't know. Like you couldn't remember. Tears were streaming down her face now. I said 42 years, and you nodded and said, "That's right, 42. But Eugene, I could see it in your eyes. You didn't remember. You were guessing. I wanted to argue, wanted to tell her she was wrong, she was mistaken, she was seeing problems that didn't exist. But I couldn't remember our anniversary dinner, couldn't remember asking that question, couldn't remember any of it. "I'm not trying to hurt you," Patricia whispered. "I'm trying to save you. Before you get behind the wheel and forget where you're going and end up in an accident. Before you wander off and we find you in the desert. Before—" She stopped, closed her eyes. "I'm watching you disappear, and it's killing me." We sat in silence. The clock on the wall ticked. Somewhere outside, a dog barked. "The lake house," I said finally. "Saturday. You were going to humiliate me in front of our entire family. I was going to ask for help, in the only way I knew how. By ambushing me, by turning everyone against me, by making them see what I see, what we all see." She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. "You won't listen to me. You won't go to a doctor voluntarily. What am I supposed to do? Just watch you fade away and do nothing? I want you out." The words came out flat, final. "What?" "Out of this house, tonight. Go stay with Diane, or Mira, or whoever else is on your committee. But I want you gone. Eugene, please. It's my house, my name on the deed. You want to have me declared incompetent? Fine. Do it through the courts. But until then, I don't want you here." Patricia stared at me for a long moment. Something complicated moved across her face. Hurt, fear, anger, grief, all tangled together into something I couldn't name. Then she stood up, picked up her purse, and walked out. The door closed behind her. I sat in my living room, in the house we'd shared for 43 years, surrounded by decades of memories and photographs and proof of a life we'd built together. And for the first time since I'd opened Diane's notebook, I let myself cry. The house was silent for 3 days. I didn't sleep much, maybe an hour here and there in my recliner. I'd wake up disoriented, not sure what time it was. not sure if Patricia had really left or if I'd dreamed the whole confrontation. But her side of the closet was empty. That was real. I ate cereal standing at the counter, frozen dinners at odd hours. The TV stayed on constantly because the silence was too loud. I kept replaying the recordings on my phone. Patricia's voice admitting she was scared. Diane saying I was declining. Tessa calling my behavior classic early stage. And I kept trying to remember, forcing myself to pull up memories that should be automatic. Our anniversary. What had we done? Where had we gone? I couldn't see it. The memory wouldn't come. Sunday afternoon, my grandson Nathan called. Patricia must have told Steve what happened because Nathan's voice was careful, gentle, the way you talk to something fragile. "Grandpa, are you okay? Dad said you and Grandma had a fight. We had a disagreement, buddy, that's all. She's staying at Aunt Diane's. She's been crying a lot." Something twisted in my chest. "I know." She said you're mad at her because she's trying to help you, but you don't think you need help." He paused. "Is that true?" Out of the mouths of children, they cut right through the bullshit, don't they? "It's complicated, Nathan. At my birthday party, you kept calling me Steve, like a lot. And when Dad corrected you, you got kind of upset." His voice was small, scared. "Are you sick, Grandpa?" I opened my mouth to say no, to say I was fine, to say everyone was overreacting. But the lie wouldn't come. "I don't know," I whispered. After we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and stared at nothing. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I walked to the freezer and opened it. There, behind the frozen peas, was my wallet. I don't remember putting it there. I pulled it out with shaking hands. The leather was cold, stiff. How long had it been there? Days? Weeks? I walked to the garage, stood in front of my toolbox, opened the top drawer where I keep my screwdrivers, reached for my favorite one, the Phillips head with the red handle I've had since 1985. It wasn't there. I opened every drawer, searched the entire garage, finally found it in the kitchen junk drawer, mixed in with batteries and twist ties and old receipts. I don't remember moving it. Monday morning, I made myself do something I should have done weeks ago. I pulled out a notebook, just a regular spiral one from the office supply drawer, and I started writing down what I could actually remember from the past month. Steve's last visit, Labor Day weekend. I remember the boys coming over. I remember Nathan talking about school. I remember... What? What else? We had lunch. We talked. About what? The memory was there, but fuzzy, like trying to see through frosted glass. Nathan's birthday party, September 8th. Patricia had told me the date. We drove to Steve's house in Mesa. There was cake. Nathan opened presents, and I called him Steve. I remember doing it once. But 6 times? Was it really 6 times? The old house on Maple Street. I remember being there. Remember trying my key. Remember the confusion. But in my memory, it feels recent. Like we'd just moved. But we sold that house 15 years ago. 15 years? Where did those 15 years go? I kept writing, kept trying to document my own mind. And the gaps started to show themselves. Conversations I couldn't quite recall. Dates that felt wrong. Moments that existed but without context. Floating free like photographs scattered on a table. Tuesday evening, Elvis called. "Dad, I heard what happened. With Mom. Steve told me." "I suppose he told you his version." "He told me you kicked Mom out because you found out she was worried about your memory. That she's been trying to get you to see a specialist." "She's been building a case against me. Documenting supposed symptoms. Planning to ambush me at the lake house ceremony." "Yeah, Dad, because you wouldn't listen any other way." He sighed. "When's my birthday?" The question landed like a punch. "Elvis, just tell me, when is your son's birthday?" I opened my mouth. The date should be right there. I've celebrated it for 41 years. I know it. I know it. But I couldn't grab it. It was like trying to catch smoke. "July," I said finally. "It's in July." Silence on the other end. Long and heavy. "It's September 8th, Dad. Same day as Nathan's. That's why we always do a joint party." "Oh, God. And you forgot to call. On my birthday. For the first time in my entire life, you forgot." His voice cracked. "Mom covered for you. Told me you'd called earlier when I was at work. But you didn't, did you?" I couldn't speak. Steve and I have been talking about the things we've noticed over the past year. The repetition, the confusion, the way you zone out in the middle of conversations. We didn't want to believe it either, Dad. But Mom isn't making this up. After he hung up, I sat with my notebook open to a blank page, and I wrote the truth I'd been running from. September 8th, Elvis's birthday. I forgot. I forgot my own son's birthday. Our anniversary. I asked Patricia how many years. I didn't know. I should have known. The wallet in the freezer. I don't remember doing it. The old house. I thought we still lived there. Nathan's name. I called him Steve, multiple times, because I couldn't hold on to which was which. I stared at the words I'd written. Then I picked up my phone and pulled up the recording from Thursday's Canasta group, the one I'd heard as a conspiracy. I forced myself to listen to it again. Really listen. "She barely sleeps anymore," Diane had said. "She's up every night checking on him." Yesterday, he asked her if she'd met the new neighbors. We've lived next to the Hendersons for 12 years. How long can she keep this up? She's exhausted. She loves him so much. This is destroying her. And Patricia's voice, so tired, so broken. I just want him safe. I just want him to still be him for as long as possible. I don't know how to do this. I sat in my kitchen, holding my phone, and the rage that had sustained me for 2 weeks just drained away, because I finally understood. Patricia wasn't the villain. The Canasta group wasn't a conspiracy. They were terrified, watching someone they loved disappear, trying desperately to help him before he was completely gone, and that someone was me. Wednesday morning, I called Patricia. She answered on the first ring. "Eugene, I want to meet with your Canasta group, all of them, here, tomorrow evening at 7. Why? Because I need to understand, really understand, and I think we need to talk, all of us. No more secrets." Silence. Then, "Okay, I'll call everyone." Thursday at 7, they arrived. Patricia, Diane, Mira, Tessa, Elena. They filed into my living room with the careful politeness of people visiting someone in the hospital. I'd spent the day preparing, had documents laid out on the coffee table, my notebook with my own observations, the recordings, the emails I'd found, everything. But I didn't start with those. "I want to apologize," I said. Surprise flashed across every face. "I accused you of conspiracy, of trying to steal my life, of being cruel." I looked at Patricia. "I was wrong. Not about what you were doing. You were planning an intervention without my knowledge. That part is true, but I was wrong about why." "Eugene," Diane started. "Let me finish." I held up my hand. "I've spent the past week really looking at myself, really trying to see what you all see. I called my sons. I talked to Nathan. I documented what I could actually remember. I gestured to my notebook, and I found gaps, real gaps, things I can't explain away as normal aging or distraction." Patricia's eyes filled with tears. "I still don't think I'm as bad as you believe I am. Some of the things in Diane's notebook are exaggerated. Some are misinterpreted. But—" I had to stop, breathe. "But some of them are true, and that terrifies me more than anything you could do to me." "We're terrified too," Mira said softly. I nodded. "Here's what I'm proposing. I'll see Dr. Brennan. I'll get a real evaluation from a specialist. But I want transparency. No more secret committees. No more ambush at the lake house. If we're going to deal with this, whatever this is, we do it together. As a family. Honestly." "And if the evaluation shows you need help?" Patricia asked. Then we figure out what that help looks like. Together. I looked around at all of them. I need to know you're on my side, not working against me, even when you're trying to help. Elena spoke up. Eugene, we've always been on your side, even when it didn't feel like it. I believe you now. I turned to Patricia. But I need things to change. I need to be part of the decisions about my own life, and I need my wife back, not my caretaker, my partner. Patricia crossed the room, sat beside me on the couch, took my hand. I never stopped being your partner, she said. I just got so scared of losing you that I tried to control everything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry too, for shutting you out, for not seeing what was happening. Tessa cleared her throat. So, what happens now? Now, I said, we figure this out together, starting with that appointment on November 2nd. But this time, I'm walking in there knowing what it is. No ambush, no tricks. And the lake house ceremony? Diane asked carefully. We do it Saturday as planned. I gift the property to my grandchildren, because that's what I want to do. I looked at Patricia. But no speeches about my decline, no public intervention, just family celebrating family. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Saturday came. The whole family gathered at the lake house, Steve and his wife Mira with Nathan, Elvis and his wife Elena with their daughter Tessa. 3 generations on the dock where I'd taught my sons to fish 40 years ago. I signed the papers, gave the deed to my grandchildren, made a short speech about family and legacy and love. Patricia stood beside me, holding my hand, and she didn't say a word about cognitive decline or doctor's appointments or memory care facilities. She just squeezed my hand and whispered, I love you. 4 weeks later, Dr. Brennan gave me his diagnosis. Mild cognitive impairment. Not dementia. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But enough that we need to watch. Adjust. Prepare. Patricia and I go to therapy now. We're learning to talk about fear instead of hiding it. To ask for help instead of forcing it. The Canasta group still meets on Thursdays, but now they actually play cards. Sometimes I join them. I'm not going to lie and say everything is perfect. I still forget things. I still get confused sometimes. Last week I couldn't find my car in the grocery store parking lot for 20 minutes. But now, when it happens, Patricia doesn't write it in a notebook. She helps me find the car, and afterward we talk about it. We cry sometimes. We laugh sometimes. We face it together. I'm Eugene Henderson. I'm 73 years old. I might be losing pieces of myself, but I'm not losing my family, and I'm not losing my dignity. Because sometimes the people who scare you the most are the ones loving you the hardest. The Canasta group taught me that, even if they had to lie about playing cards to do it. Thanks for sticking around. Support the channel by hitting subscribe. It means a lot and helps me create more stories for you. See you in the next episode.